Hi, good evening. Happy Monday and time for our Leo update. How are you doing, Task?
I'm doing well. Doing well. Been doing a lot of Leo stuff today and adding content. And just put up a post before we came on air. And had the town hall today and got the AMA tomorrow and Lions Den on Friday. So lots of good things going on.
Wow, yeah, good week.
Yep. We got word on the Lions Den that Leo AI will be possibly open for beta. Cal seems to think the end of July it'll be ready. So we seem to have a target time period for that, which is exciting. Don't know what it'll involve other than what he said. So maybe worthy of some questions on the AMA tomorrow. But that's at least we have a target time now, and that's a good thing.
And that will be for premium.
Yeah, it's going to be part of the premium package. If you're paying for premium, you'll have access to Leo AI, which, from what Cal said, it will be at a minimum a writing aid. So you'll be able to, as you're writing a post, it will offer up some suggestions. I think you will be able to use it to search for old articles or things you've done or prompt it to get information, um, such as who is taskmaster or
Oh, yeah.
what is a resource credit, what is a high blockchain, what is Leo, things like that. Obviously, it'll be trained upon. I'm hoping, and I'll ask this on the AMA, but I'm hoping that you'll be able to prompt it also to ask it like who was involved in the War of 1812 and use it in that regard, or who was the 33rd president of the United States. That's also something I hope is available. But as I said, I don't know. I would think it would be, but I can't say for certain. But that would really, if we could take some search business and keep it on Leo, that would be better.
Yeah, that would be really good. So they today on the town hall you covered Leo decks? You
Yeah, we went more into Leo decks, which there was nothing really earth shattering about what was said. It's stuff that was said before.
Mhm.
Nifty and I actually did most of the talking. Cal did some, Eric did some, and Simple Game came on and did a little bit. And it's just one of those things that we have to use it as a tool that is available on Leo. And I drove home the point, which should come as no surprise to anybody, about ownership, about if you have Leo, Leo Dex is yours. If you have Leo in your wallet, InLEO is yours. And I don't go and drive my neighbor's car. When I walk out in the parking lot, I go to my car. I don't go to somebody else's car.
Right.
Even if their car gets better gas mileage, I still drive my car. And why is that? I own it. And so the idea of going and using another DEX or another exchange, unless I'm doing something with fiat, of course, then you have to use the regular exchanges, um, is preposterous. I mean, I own Leo Dex. Now, obviously, I don't own 100% of it, but I have Leo. So it's just follow the tokenomics. Look at the tokenomics and see how it benefits the ecosystem. And so that's a point we have to drive home to people, is that this tool is there and let's use it, let's promote it, let's discuss it, let's do things that we need to do. And it, it's also, it opens up a huge opportunity for Hive, because especially in the United States, you can't get Hive. I mean, the exchanges don't carry it. And I think Binance may have even dropped it. So, I mean, Hive and HBD are very, very much centralized on just one or two exchanges. And we have to change that. We have to get the transactions. And this is another point I made. You move from Web 2 to Web 3, you move from decentralized or from centralized exchanges to decentralized exchanges, one transaction at a time. So as much everybody says, oh, we want everything to move over, it happens one transaction at a time. So if you're thinking of doing a transaction, do it on Leo if you can. And if you're dealing with Hive, you don't have much choice anyway. So
So I can bring my fiat, like I can bring my fiat on, and I don't even have to buy. Like I don't have to go to Coinbase and buy Litecoin first, and then
well,
buy.
you have to go to, if you're using fiat, you have to go through Coinbase, because LeoDex is not a bank, so it can't get into the banking system. You can't connect your
Okay,
account. So what you would do is, probably the best thing to do would be to take your fiat, get it on Coinbase, flip your fiat for ARB USDC, uh, USDC on Arbitron instead of Ethereum, because the Ethereum will cost you more in fees. The Arbitron is negligible. It's next to nothing. So then you send your USDC over to your XDeFi or whatever wallet you're using, um, and then you can go from, once you have it in your XDeFi, then you can go from there and go right into Leo. You can go right into Hive. You can go right into, um, well, that's where either one of them where you can go into. At some point here, you'll be able to go into HBD and some of the others, but you'll be able to go right to Hive or Leo, or you could take it then and swap it for Leo and Cacao and go into the liquidity pool on Maya if you want. I'm going to go the other way because I got to get some money out in the next couple of weeks. And what I'm going to do is I will go from Hive, and I may take some HBD and swap it to Hive first, and then send it over, get it into Leo, and then swap the Leo for USDC on Arbitron, and then send that over to my Coinbase and just then sell it, for dollars.
yeah, because normally what I do is I get my fiat and I trade it for Litecoin, and then
Yeah,
I throw
yeah,
it
you
into
you
swap
just
LTC.
yeah. Well, Litecoin's not, for whatever reason, not supported by Maya. So, um, I mean, it's just, you're going to have to switch the vehicle currency that you use, which instead of using Litecoin to transact, you use. I mean, you can use that whatever you want, but I was told in terms of the fees, the best is to use USDC on Arbitron because I mean, shit, I converted what it was, a 10 Leo, which is like was 75 cents or 72 cents or whatever it was, and I've done a bunch of transactions, not a lot, but I've done a bunch, and it's still at like 72 cents. So these things are costing like half a cent a piece or a quarter of a cent a piece or something. So it's very low fees on Arbitron.
And how do I get to Arbitron?
Well, when you go into Coinbase, it'll you'll say, okay, buy USDC, but
Okay.
USDC exists on Ethereum, USDC exists on BSC, it exists on Polygon, it exists on a bunch of different chains. So you just have to go USDC and then make sure you're not getting the Ethereum. You just have to make sure it's on the Arbitron. And then
Okay.
once you get that and it's in your wallet, then in your Coinbase wallet, then you just send it over to your XDeFi if you use that, or whatever your wallet is on that you use, LeoDex, MetaMask, whatever it is you use, and then and you can go in there and you send it in there, and now you're on Maya, and you're on Arbitron, and you can then swap it for Leo or Cacao or Hive or whatever by using just LeoDex.
Because I did the key store thing. I sent.
You can do it through there too. I'm not familiar with the key store personally, but you can do it through there too if you want. If instead of using XDeFi, you can do that. I'm sure it's similar. You just have to, get the address of your wallet in the key store, and then put that into your send address or receive address in Coinbase. So it takes a little bit to get used to it, just like you got used to doing everything with Litecoin as your vehicle currency. So it's just a matter of getting another vehicle currency that you're used to, and the fees are even less than on Litecoin.
That's good to know.
And it's a stable coin, so it's USDC. It's pretty much pegged to $1. So the point being is, let's say you do the transaction. Let's say you take, I don't know, we'll say $50. You take $50 and buy Litecoin, and you send it, you have it in, and you make the transaction in Coinbase, and you have to run out or whatever, and you don't get to it for a day or two, and the price of Litecoin drops 20%, 10%, let's say. Well, your $50 just went to 45, and it's like, why? You wanted to exchange 50 and have $50 in Hive, or $50 in Leo, or $50 in whatever, but you just lost 10%. Well, if you did it with USDC, which is a stable coin, and you left for a day because you had to run out or whatever, you come back, it's still, pretty much the same USDC. So you eliminate that, which is, if you're doing it all in a matter of minutes, okay, not a big deal, but you never know what happens, and that type of thing.
Yeah, because usually, I do like 20 a week for my DCA, and so I buy $20 worth of Litecoin. I end up with somewhere around 18 or something, because it's $1.49 for the Coinbase fee. If I don't want the Coinbase fee, I gotta pay their Coinbase. I tried a free trial, the Coinbase Premium or whatever they do, but that wasn't worthwhile for me, so I cut that off before I had to pay for it. But yeah, so it's like they take $1.49 for that, and then
that's another thing. I don't know, but I've done with USDT, and I think I did it with USDC, where with the stable coins they don't charge for that. They at least don't charge for it coming in. See, when I send in Litecoin into Coinbase, there's a charge. They'll take $20 out or whatever, $22 out. They take some percentage. With stable coins going in, if you send in $500, it's $500, and I don't think there's a fee to sell it to when you sell it and go from USDC to dollars. It's just, I don't think there's any fee there. So that makes it too, because you also then have the Litecoin transaction fee. So that sounds like it'd be a better deal for you anyway. Yeah, you just have to go and play through. I'm going to play through with Coinbase the next couple of days, so I'll be able to maybe screenshot something for you to how to find the Arbitron USDC in there.
That'd be super helpful. Thanks.
Yeah, it's in there, I'm sure. So that was the bulk of the discussion. Again, nothing novel. Nifty mentioned some things, and Cal mentioned a few things. But again, it's nothing novel. It was just basically how, I mean, some people were asking like, what's the next things that LeoDex will be adding? And Cal basically said, just watch Maya. If Maya adds something, I mean, unless it's just a feature that nobody will use, we're going to add it. And he said the first thing is probably streaming swaps. They're adding that, and they have like a vault savings thing, which I don't know what that is, but that'll probably be added to LeoDex once it's added to Maya.
Yeah, I should take some time to read the documentation in LeoDex too.
Yeah, it would help. I mean, it's it's a nice little service. It's a handy little Dex. I mean, it's not much different than like Pancake Swap or Uniswap or any of those others, um, except it's tied to Maya. And Maya is growing and expanding, and eventually it'll be tied to Thorchain. And I mean, in a lot of instances, because of the two pools, you can swap out Hive, and you actually have a negative transaction fee. I mean, you'll swap, let's say, $50 of Hive, and with your transaction fee, you should get 49.75. You'll get 50.25 or something like that because of the way the two pools work. You just catch it at a time where it's like, okay, you end up getting more money than if you didn't do it.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean it's just basically the difference in pricing of the Leo between the two pools. And if you tie, I mean, the prices aren't going to be exactly the same. So you might end up buying Leo on Hive Engine and effectively selling the Leo at a higher price than you bought it on Hive Engine in the Cacao pool, in the Maya pool. And then you get that in Cacao uh, or whatever, USDC or whatever the hell you're converting to.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yep. It's an interesting phenomenon that can take place.
And then how about the Lions Den on Friday? You get that was about gaming on Friday, wasn't it?
The Lion's Den was no. Yes and no. It had Simple Game on,
Okay.
and Simple Game is building out games, but he's building out, him and his team are building out a platform, and basically it's layer one NFTs. So we have NFTs on Hive, and basically what he's done is he's created a platform where through what they do, you can get with them, they can whitelist you, and you can create NFTs. Now, obviously, they focus on gaming, but it could be NFTs for anything.
Okay.
And they actually write, and to use his phrase, in human readable form, they write the transaction to the blockchain, to the Hive blockchain. So, what that means is that if their platform went away, if somebody else built a platform or an intelligent layer, he called it, built another intelligent layer, all that information's on there. So it's no different than your posts. If you do a post and you usually post it on Peak D, it's on the blockchain. Through Peak D, it's on the blockchain. If Peak D goes away and somebody else creates a new front end, that front end can read your post because it's on the blockchain. And it's the same
Okay.
thing with this. So his whole idea is you own your assets. You own the asset. It's play to own. It's not play to earn, which was the Web3 gaming. And one of the things that what he got on the town hall today about, he got on regarding LeoDex and how He's waited to release his platform for LeoDex because he has a lot of people he's talking to about joining his platform from Cardano. They're game developers on Cardano, but it's just a pain in the ass to get Hive and get Hive power. Well, now that's resolved. And then Nifty jumped in and said, just to let you know, Maya is going to be integrating Cardano, so you're going to be able to go from ADA right into Hive. And he said, "Well, that's just amazing. That'll make life easy." And so what you're effectively seeing is you're starting to see Leo Dex being used, at least in this instance, as some infrastructure for another platform that was built and as a feature for that other platform.
Wow.
Yeah, so I went in, I bought 10 NFTs from Simple Game. Cost me 4 HBD a piece, so 40 HBD. And I don't know what the hell I bought because I don't know gaming, but I did it to support them. And I hear that they're working on the coding and gonna, if you are Leo Premium, you're gonna even get a discount on his platform for, maybe they don't charge you $4 for an NFT, maybe it costs you $3.75 or whatever. So
Hey, discount's a discount.
yeah, well, I mean, he's adding now more value to Leo Premium, and he's not part of the Leo team. It's just he's building out something that, I mean, this is where it all starts, and I mean, Friday's show is going to be about making Hive successful, and for those who listen to me, it's going to be the same old drum being beat. The Leo Premium plus, whatever 75 or 100 other people who aren't premium but who are dedicated, those are our true fans. Those are our true owners. And that's the starting point. And everybody, all 350 of them or whatever the number is, have to step up their game. That's where the numbers have to come from. The idea of trying to attract people from the outside at this point isn't going to work. I mean, you can do it with Leo Dex, and there are some initiatives to start to get that used a little bit more, and that's fine. But I mean, the community and the people have to, they have to do their part.
Yeah, it's focus. Focus here. Focus where we're at.
Yeah, I mean, the last 2 days I went through the numbers, and at least in the containers on for threads, not the containers we set up, but the Leo Threads account, the blog
Okay. I was
that
wondering what you meant about that. All right.
yeah, the blog post that has all the threads in it, because threads are really comments. That's according to the blockchain. So what threads is threads is a blog post that we actually are commenting under the blog post. And when it gets to a certain amount of comments, it puts up another blog post. And we don't see it, obviously, because when we see it, we just are on threads. The front end reads it as threads. But if you look in like in Peak D in the Leo Threads account, you just see these different automated posts. It says like container on it, like Leo Threads container, and it'll say like 1 day ago, and that's all it is. And I don't even remember what it looks like if you open it. I've looked at it through Hot Blocks, and what you basically see is just a bunch of comments, and that's what it is. And so those are up in the last few days. I mean, I know I helped it because I think I did 350 threads today.
Wow.
Yeah, and I stopped about 2 o'clock. I mean, I didn't really thread after the town hall, but it just shows you how conversations can take place. I mean, I was talking to somebody, forget who it is, but anyway, her and I were going back and forth, and I looked at the leaderboard, and she did 53 threads, which is a huge number for her. And I highlight that, and I said, this is what happens with conversation. We went back and forth for about an hour with different things. And she had 53 threads, thread comments. I mean, threads are comments. So, it's just, and then, you have to read the containers like 2 days later because, like, I responded to some things when I woke up this morning. I think you had sent me some replies. I know Coyote Elation had sent me some replies from yesterday, you answered them yesterday, but I didn't see them until this morning. And so when I replied, it actually goes in yesterday's container because that's where it is. So it's adding to the particular container and increasing the numbers there. So, I mean, that's just what we need to do. Page views, containers, number of threads per day. I mean, that has to just go up. We can't flatline anymore. And that's only going to come from a number of people really up in their game.
Well, yeah, you and I had a little conversation about Three Dog Night.
Yeah, I mean, you just go through your notifications and answer people, and you go back and forth 2, 3, 4 times a piece, and next thing you know, you're up to between the two of you to 10. And it's like, okay, that's not changing the world, but it's like takes 5 minutes, if that, for both parties. How many times a day can you do that? And so that's the point.
And then those AI portraits that you put up, I'm like, wow, okay, those look like professional headshots.
Yeah, well, that's where the technology's going, and that's another question with Leo AI. I wonder if there will be an image generator in it, but I don't know. I should have asked on the town hall when I had Cal's here, but I didn't want to detour too much. So
I guess that's
I'll try to throw them in the Threadcast question tomorrow and see if he sees it.
you can see how deep fakes can happen because those look like
Yeah, I mean it's
super real.
Yeah, well, I wrote an article the other night, and this is all part of the digital human, digital twin. There's a few different terms that are tossed around. And basically, a digital human is exactly what you were looking at. And I mean, those are just images, but there's software out there that these digital humans are taking on human characteristics. And this is a valuable um, technology for like customer service. So you can have these chatbots, essentially, these digital humans handling your customer service. And it's like you're talking to a person. It's an AI, it's a digital person, if you will. Person doesn't exist. But then also at some point, you and I will be able to replicate ourselves and, basically have digital employees and go out there and do stuff. And if the AI is smart enough, we can go to a meeting the same way as we would on Zoom, except we can send our AIs. And that's where a lot of people think it's going in the future. So, I mean, really, when you look at every layer of artificial intelligence, if you're not thinking about the really futuristic, scientific, sci-fi stuff, you're probably not looking in the right area because this stuff is going to be far beyond what most people are thinking about. The timeline, that who knows? You can't even guess at that. But I mean, we're already starting to see. I mean, those images I posted today, one of them. The first one wasn't mine. I just found that on Ideogram. But the second one, I prompted that, and I got four replies. That was the best one. There was a couple others that were decent, but there were minor things like one of the things I said is have a gold chain with a cross. And on one of them, the gold chain was here, but the cross was sitting up here. It was like not attached. It was like,
Uh-huh.
okay, well, that's not quite right. But you know, it's getting a lot better, and so that's one of the reasons why I keep pushing for Leo AI, talking about Leo AI, trying to get people in the mindset of AI. Because if you want to look at Leo as, whatever market cap, 100 million, 150 million, $1 billion market cap, in the AI world, $1 billion market cap is really going to be nothing. $1 billion AI driven application is nothing. And
Wow.
so the idea of building these services in, these features in, it's going to be mind boggling. I mean, when OpenAI and Sam Altman says, well, he believes OpenAI will be $100 trillion company, 100 trillion.
I can't even, that number just like,
Yeah, well, I mean, I remember when the idea of $1 trillion company was absurd. I mean, it
mhm.
was absolutely absurd. It's like, oh no. And now I don't know who the biggest is anymore. I haven't looked in a few months, but it's Microsoft or Apple. Usually they're up there. Although Nvidia skyrocketed, but I think they only got to about 2 trillion. Apple and Microsoft had crossed three. I don't know if they dropped back or not, but so you're looking at something 33 times the size of what the market cap of Apple is right now. And it may not be OpenAI to get there, but somebody will. And I think it all is going to come down to, it's not going to be the LLM because those are going to be commodities because everybody's trained on the same data. Uh, it's going to be what's built. It's going to be the applications. And maybe OpenAI brings out some kick-ass applications and really dominates some sectors, and that type of stuff. Maybe it's Meta, maybe it's Google. I don't know, but I think there's huge opportunity for somebody like Leo to step in. And okay, you're not talking $1 trillion. You're not talking $100 trillion. You're not talking, even 100 billion. But a few 100 million at a minimum is not outlandish. Uh, we just have to figure out how to use the AI to bring that value to Leo, uh, and get stuff on the platform that operates in that manner, and can push value. And I think Leo AI, whatever it looks like at the end of July, we have to look at, okay, this is the introduction. This is as bad as it gets. We're just going to have to keep improving from here. And I hope eventually image generation is added and all that good stuff, because there's no reason not to have it if it's technologically feasible, which it should be. But then there's the cost, which I don't know about any of that. So that's why Leo is going to AI is going to be for premium, because there is a cost to prompting. So
Yeah, that, I imagine that would cost a bit of money.
well, yeah, it's it's you go to Meta AI.meta, or you go to OpenAI, or you go to Gemini, you go to any of them. There's a cost every time you prompt something. You go to Ideogram, there's a cost every time you prompt something. Now those companies are eating it because they're running it on their servers, so they're not charging uh, for each prompt. But then again, they have their upgraded services where if you want more stuff or the ability to do more, you got to pay them whatever, $20 a month or whatever they charge. Mid Journey does it. They all do it. But again, I don't know if that's really the level the business model is going to work at unless you come up with something distinctive. And Leo could do something distinctive just in the fact that it has the community, it has this entire ecosystem that's building, that it can actually start to do this stuff, and we can utilize this stuff to post on chain and to enhance what we're doing with our threading, and some other things, and maybe create songs and whatnot.
So much development going on. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, well, it's I just watched an NVIDIA um, conference, and Moore's law is being crushed by NVIDIA. They have this Blackwell line of processors that I guess are going to be available soon. And from the processors that were available 8 years ago, so what was that, 2016?
Mm.
These things are 1,000x that in 8 years it went up, not 10x, not 100x, 1,000x
For a processor.
for a processor. Moore's law, I think in 10 years, Moore's law gets you a 30x. So whatever you're at 10 years later, you're 30 times the processing capability with Moore's law. In 8 years, NVIDIA went 1,000x in the processing capability. So I had a, oh, that reminds me, I got to put it in the video. I had a screenshot that I took from the YouTube video I was watching. And it's like Moore's law is going across here, and then this is NVIDIA. It goes here, and then like that. It's unbelievable, the exponential. And so when you're dealing with that much growth in the processing power, and you have the amount of data that we have generating, and that's the other thing for more activity on Leo. The more shit you put up there, you're feeding the AI.
Yeah.
You know these threads are going to be fed into Leo AI, and the blog posts and the comments and anything you do is going to be fed in. And anything you do has more than one activity because there's votes with it, and you get the votes, and what do you vote, and what vote, who votes you, and how many people vote you, and how many votes do you give me, how many votes do I give you, how many votes did I give Joe Smith, how many votes, all of that stuff is being registered, and supposedly you will be able to pull that up from Leo AI. It's like, okay, um, you know, who voted my stuff the most? What articles got the most traffic? You know, different things like that. You're supposedly going to be able to ask Leo AI and get the answers on. So
What videos are people watching more? The cooking videos or the documentaries? Stuff like that.
well, I don't know if it tracks that because, again, you got to remember those videos aren't on
Uh,
Leo. They're on YouTube.
YouTube or Three Speak or what?
Yeah. So I don't know if I don't see how Leo AI is going to. I mean, they may know based upon the traffic, maybe which windows do people spend time on, but I don't know if it'll be able. I don't think it'll, since there's no video on the platform itself, the Leo platform. I don't, or Hive for that matter. There's no video on Hive. It's taken from the Hive blockchain, so I don't know if any of that will be uh, will be recorded because you're actually watching the. Even though you're on Leo, your viewer is to another site, whether it's Three Speak or YouTube or whatever. So I don't think you'll get that, but I mean, again, and now I'm speculating. I don't know exactly what it's all going to be, um, but it'll be more than we have now. And if they can get it out in time, it'll probably eclipse anything else on Hive.
Well, that would be a nice thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's an arms race, and Leo needs to win the arms race. I mean, it's just that simple, and not focus on senseless bullshit and focus on the things that are going to be really game changers. And I think AI is the game changer. The debugging had to happen, so they did that. They still have some other things to debug, and that'll always be ongoing. I don't know the next area of focus. Supposedly, 1 year premium payments will be out this week, so that's something that was promised. So you can pay for a year of premium
Oh, I like that idea.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very popular where um, those who can afford it, it'll be just pay it once and be done for a year. Save up 120 HPD, and there might even be a bit of a discount, and just be done with it here. That way, I don't have to worry about it for another year.
Yeah, I'm still thinking about like focusing on, well, keeping the premium for two accounts, and then just, you know, with the other two, just like rethreading the stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I have premium on my two accounts, and I really, I mean, I don't. I mean, it pays for it on both accounts because I post articles out of both accounts. But outside of that, it probably wouldn't even be worth it. But even my main account, I do a thread storm. That's the only thing I do. Thread storm and I post. That's the only thing I do on Leo with it. I do everything through my LE account, and that's where I do all my threads and all my upvoting and you know all that stuff. So, but for 10 HBD a month, it's not a big deal, and I'm sure I get it back just in the Leo votes. But even if I didn't, no big deal. But yeah, I wouldn't spend 40 HBD a month on four accounts. That's ludicrous. Why you don't need to do that, in my opinion.
No, it's not making a whole lot of sense. Uh, so, like, of course, when I vote on Leo, I'm using my Leo power, correct? Like,
No, you are also using your high power when you vote on Leo.
okay,
Yeah, you're and whatever else you got in your account. So if you have like CTP staked, you'll be using that. But yeah, I mean most of us have Leo and Hive, and yeah. So if your Leo vote's worth 0.5 and your Hive's worth 0.25, when you hit that vote button, you're given 0.5 vote and 0.25. You're given on both tokens.
yeah, I figured it was. I was wondering if it was. It must have been both, just like.
Yeah, yeah, you're voting on both. That's why they show the different voting power, which that thing never works anyway. But that was the theory behind that. But um, yeah, you're voting it. If not, you would have to vote your Leo, and then you'd have to go to like Peak D or something and vote your Hive. That doesn't make any sense.
No, because we want to stay on Leo.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, no, you're voting all your whatever's in your account powered up. That's what you're voting.
Yeah, well, that's where all my voting power really is, in my main account.
Yeah, I mean it's. Of
That's
course,
where I
if you
do
wanted to
it.
change that up, you could simply just delegate it to your other accounts and delegate the high power or the Leo power to your other account. And that's what I do is I have my Leo power delegated to my LE account. So anything I'm voting out of my main account isn't voting Leo power anyway, because there's no I mean there's Leo power in there, but it's all delegated to my main to the account I use on Leo. So I mean it's there's a lot of different ways to do that.
And the resource credits, how do those work? I mean, as far as the amount of resource credits you have, like I said, so,
It's based on Leo power. I mean, excuse me, high power. So I don't know what the ratio is, but there's a certain amount. If you have 100 high power, you got a certain amount of resource credits. If you have 1,000 high power, you have 10 times the resource credits the person with 100 high power does. And as you are transacting throughout the day, whether it's commenting, whether it's threading, whether it's upvoting, whether it's posting blogs, whether it's claiming account creation tokens, whatever it is, there's a cost to that in resource credit. So it's taking your RC value down, just like voting power, but it recharges every day 20%. So if you use up 20% of your resource credits, then don't do anything for 24 hours, you'll be back at 100%. Um, I don't know how many you really need before. I mean, I think if you're over a couple hundred high power, you
We're
got enough
fine.
resource credits basically to do whatever you want. But then if you have an account that doesn't have the high power, just delegate the resource credits. I mean, in Peak D, you can do that. You just delegate resource credits instead of high power.
Hmm.
It gives you the ability to transact, but when you upvote something, you're only upvoting with the high power that's in that account, not the delegated high power, because you didn't delegate high power, you delegate resource credits. So you can actually separate them out. But if you delegate high power, they automatically get the resource credits too. But again, if you get enough in one account, you don't have a, if you get enough in all accounts, you don't have a problem.
Yeah, I just don't think I need to keep 4 accounts at premium.
No, that's ludicrous. I don't know why you would do that.
I'm like, yeah, I tried that once. I'm like, not a good idea. I don't want to spread the resources that thin.
No, it to me it does. I mean, I don't know honestly if there's really much point for most people doing two accounts. I mean, there could be, depending on what you're doing, and if you want to try to keep, especially if you made a name in one. But yeah, I could see doing two, but after that, you might have a few things you want to do in other accounts, but um, it's on Leo itself running 3, 4 accounts doesn't make much sense unless they were like different businesses or something like that. Where you're using business accounts, and this is for my flower shop, and this is for my bread baking business, and this is for my kids' school account or whatever. But we don't have that on Leo anyway. So what the hell's the difference?
Right? I mean, I could like make the kind of posts that I'd want to put on the other accounts and then just rethread them from my main account. That's what I was thinking of doing anyway.
Yeah, you can do that. I mean, you can with reblog and rethread, you can do it anyway. A lot of things. You don't need to run that many accounts.
It's challenging enough to find the time to maintain the two.
It is. It really is. And I don't know if it means anything on the grand scheme of things, but the other thing is it's good to build numbers in the account to show that, hey, I am active. And someday might be an NFT system where, um, for if you have 50,000 threads, you're at a certain level. If you have 100,000, you're at another level, and that may entitle you to certain features. I don't know. Maybe it entitles you extra prompts or whatever. Um, so you don't want to try to do that and keep diluting your activity over 4 accounts.
Right.
I mean, out of my main account, I'm under 2,000 threads. I mean, the only thing I thread out of there is just the thread storm once a day. So that's the only thing. But out of my Leo account, my other one, I'm trying to push this month to hit 80,000 threads. So huge discrepancy.
Yeah, very large.
But if I split it between the two, I'd be pushing 40,000 in two of them, which isn't bad. But what's the point? No, there is no point to that.
So, do you have anything else for us tonight?
No, that's about catching up on all the news that I can think of. Been a busy few days with Leo, and so I get some time off till Friday on the being speaking on these calls. I'll be on the AMA tomorrow, but I'm not on the call. I'm in the threadcast, and I listen like everybody else. So After Friday and today, it's time for me to just hang
Rest
out.
your voice a little bit.
Yeah, rest my voice. And well, still got to do my videos, but just hang out in the threadcast and make fun of the people on air.
Harass people.
Yeah, that's all I can do.
Okay, well, I think we can stop it here this time. And what time is that AMA tomorrow?
Uh, with the AMA, you never know. They say about 12-ish Eastern time, but it's usually 12:30.
Uh,
Sometimes pushes 1. So around noon, you start looking for it. You start looking for people for Cal to announce we'll go live in 20 minutes, which then that means in 35 minutes.
oh, okay.
That's how he works.
Okay, well, thank you for coming on tonight.
All right. We will see you next week.
Yeah, sounds good. Have a good night.
All right. Ciao.
Bye bye.